So hello everyone. Today we have something special. We have two guys um, with a unique name, and these guys have been, to me, humble guys in entertainment scene and maintain their roots. First, I'll ask one of these gentlemen to introduce himself, and then we'll ask the second one to do that, and then we'll have some fun. So which one of you want to come into the little fun session to introduce yourself and tell the people who you are and give a little of your background?
All right, my name is Carl Archer, born in Trinidad and Tobago, migrated to Canada back in 1973. I did a lot of things prior to coming here, but my love is actually music, right? I have also a technical background, which includes qualification in instrumentation and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it is kind of nice to be here and to pursue one of the things that I've enjoyed from Trinidad, and also entertain people. So that was essentially what my objective was in coming to Canada.
Well, that's a very interesting one, and we're gonna have fun with you for these people in Toronto because they're learning a little thing about Carl Archer here. But I'll go to the other gentleman and ask him to introduce himself, their team, and this is the other part of the tandem. So,
my name is Gould, born in Trinidad, so I want to be exact. I came to Toronto in 1974, and my background in Trinidad was music. I was a technician in the School of Academy Basic Electronics, and in that field, I happened to meet a lot of important guys in Trinidad because they always wanted the amp fix or the TV fix, that type of stuff. And that was my background. And came into Toronto in 74, and there we go.
all right. So now the fun begins. Mr. Archer.
Yes, sir.
You, I guess I could say, speak for some of the people, the majority of people here in Toronto that we didn't know about that technical background because
Okay.
within IRE, right? And let me ask you, when did you join IRE?
Join IRE,
Yeah,
1974.
okay, which is the same year with me.
Okay.
We were doing music, Soul Clan, everybody else, and
Right.
you are wrong.
Right, right.
But before we go into that, in doing your background, I think most people know you in the track area. So do you want to comment anything on the track area? I realize you left it out of your background.
Yeah, well, I have a special that's coming soon that would include that, and I'm concerned about not, letting out any information that may be putting into that part of my career.
All right. Okay, because as I mentioned in the preamp, I would be remiss if I didn't bring that up.
Right.
Everybody knew you as a
Appreciate
track
that.
guy. I'm back to Ian now.
Yes.
Still research I did and talking to you, I hearing guys like Billy Reese and all these things. So I didn't hear Billy name. So what's up with the Billy Reese and that part of your background?
I get involved with DJing in the 60s in Trinidad, around 68, 69. And I started with a DJ called Swan Dog, may he rest in peace. And Moody Man, next guy, rest in peace. But we used to do a system for Billy Reese used to be Tinapuna, Rima area, but Billy used to be in 3 different places. The songman was called Jeggy, he from Saon, and it had guys like Nose, Vats. These are DJs from the 60s that I used to be hanging on with, and they had this a guy called Cat from Arima, And that was my intern with Billy. We used to play before Billy come on. Yeah. And the Iceman, which is what's his name? He was the librarian for Billy Reese.
Okay. So because Billy Reese hit the tongue hard. I mean, I used
Yeah.
to listen to Billy on a Saturday, he controlled the Saturday. Did you guys know each other from Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, that's interesting because the Lunatics, which is a group from South, which Billy Reese himself brought on board. I was one of the people who was a drummer for the band who backed up the Lunatics, right? That's interesting because we played when Percy Sless came to Trinidad back in 1968. Percy Sless came to Trinidad. They were performing on the show. I was part of that. I was a drummer on the show together with the Lunatics. Also, we were we had a few gigs in 67 actually, is when we started. A few gigs that year, but short-lived, right? The guy who backed up Billy Reese, his name was Jerry Stewart. Jerry Stewart happened to be the father of Blacks.
Singer Blacks?
Singer Blacks. Jerry Stewart, because that's Black's name. Black's last name is Stewart. So just Jerry Stewart and the Slapsticks was the name of the band. Interesting, right? And I didn't know Ian at all at that time.
Ian?
Hey.
What's up with that?
I was from South.
Yeah.
Well, I know this, but the point is, you're that good that you set up the system and you pull a Macy, you set up the system and go down for the spin and.
No, I was in the earlies. I was in the earlies of Billy Reese.
Yeah.
Nothing was really happening yet.
So Ian, you weren't around at that time?
No, he was in South. We used to do like Sao, Tinapuna, Arima area, that corridor. So anything happening in South? No, the only time I went South to deal with music was a DJ called Brother Bass. That's the only DJ I know from South at that time, Brother Bass. And I didn't really know the music industry in South, period. All I know is get down on the bypass, you pass the fire station, and you come to the gas station, and that's next left is Shoelip Drive. That's the areas I know. I wasn't a South man.
You know a little more than me at that time. So Archer, okay, familiar territory again. You come into Irie, you watch us play music, Soul Clan, doing the Irie tournament dance, because this is very intriguing to me. You watch, you never fuss, you never tell anybody about your music background. You know, we had sports in Irie, you do your track with Alan Calendar and everything else. How you guys got together, how you guys play?
Well, strange enough, I used to live Jane and Finch area, right? I used to live at 4500 Jane Street. And Ian and I
used to live
happened to be cross paths in the same building, in the elevator.
Yeah.
Not knowing anything about each other. So back in 1981, Ian Wilshire used to have a fit. He wanted to start something down at 365 Young Street. That was the first time he started, back in 1981. And he asked Ian, because he and Ian was more friends than I and him was. And he asked him, he said, listen, I want to start this thing, and I want to get some DJs, right, to play. He had Wire, came from New York, and he wanted to get a local guy. But we didn't have a DJ name, we didn't have anything, but we were just hanging out, playing music together, right? Home and that kind of stuff. So he ended up, Ian used to rap. And in his rap, he used to have something he says, and the bad lad from Trinidad.
Right, I remember.
That is how bad lad name came with us.
Yeah.
So Ian, what you doing with setting your place and all these things? So you had records and stuff already?
Yeah. I before Carl and myself, we used to go under the name of Lightning, and I say we because there was a brethren name, rest in peace. It seems that a lot of guys come out of me resting in peace right now. Olson Alexander.
Yeah.
Olson and myself was Lightning. So at that time, it was Austin and myself. And then when I moved to Jane and Finch and I meet Carl, that's when we hook up with Ian in 365 Young. And that's where from 1981 to 2001, as we speak here right now, the Bad Lad going.
So who endorsed, who authenticate the Bad Lad? Is it Ian who put it on the flyer, or you guys decide to adapt it?
It's Ian is the one.
Okay. And you guys are comfortable with it up to this day?
Well, yeah, because in those years, it used to have like a rivalry between the Jamaican DJ and the Trinidad DJ. So the main idea, you see, the Bad Lad from Trinidad, you know right away, it's not reggae, it's calypso. So because they used to have a little pulling and tugging in the party, guys used to come in and say they want to hear culture, music, and this type of stuff. And the main idea, you see a flyer, and you say, hey, Bad Lad from Trinidad, that's soca, we ain't going there. That was basically the signature.
Now, hearing this Bad Lad thing, and all of a sudden, everywhere you're hearing is Bad Lad and Bad Lad and Bad Lad. You guys could recall when and how this thing really started going to the next level? Non-stop, the bookings and stuff, like, what are the, okay, I know in this town it has the big parties, right? 365 was a popular party, but it wasn't like a big party, right? And if I remember correctly, it was at a younger, compared to, actually, correct me if I'm wrong, compared to like a Irie dance or whatever, where it's older, 365 was a kind of new generation kind of vibes, right? So once you had the records for it, you're good, because the younger generation partying all night, right? But how did you guys get to the big level, the big parties, the Ellswood parties, or the big ones?
I can speak from before, right? One of the first break that we actually get in the music industry was the guy from Montreal called Henry Antoine. When we hook up with Maceo and went to Montreal with, and I'm speaking on behalf of Lightning, which is me, not Bad Lad yet, right? Mm-hmm. So the links that come into the international gigs like Montreal, New York, Trinidad, England and stuff. Henry Antoine used to have the Carry Festa in Montreal, and we took a system up there, and there's a system that really make a difference with the DJ. And when we hook up the system in Montreal, they had the police came to the park and say, "Here, what's going on? This kind of system, they don't want to tolerate this type of music in the park. You're supposed to have something like a ghetto blaster."
Because right? the noise by law, I guess, right?
By law, yeah. There was this guy, Tony, I don't even know, Tony, that's the son of Frankie Borokit. Mm-hmm. That's his son, Tony. Tony was always a hookup man. He was always good in everything that he actually did. He make a phone call to Belvedere Hotel. That's where McLean was in charge of Hawks from New York. And he said, "You know what, here we're going on. Take that system down to Hawks and start to play the music one time." And there I met some DJ like Chow, King Chow, Scooby, and these guys and them, because they came in from New York. Chow was always a Montreal guy, but he ended up going down to New York to live. But that's how Chow and myself actually meet and them take. And to get back to your question, how we get to the big leagues, there we go again with the song system. We took it to New York and start getting involved with places like Tilden Hall and Golden Pavilion, Trinity Hall. Those are the things. that started thing. And the name Bad Lad, it became a Canadian name as a DJ. So anytime they're doing any international gigs now, they used to say, well, you know what? I have a DJ from Canada, Bad Lad. And that's how we start really taking the big league. So I think we were the first set of DJs to actually, because Toronto used to play music a year and two behind, like 19 thing. Our next guy who was really instrumental in that type of making sure that, hey, we play new music like 2021 music, not 2020 into 2021. But Brian Robinson, I don't know if you're familiar with Brian Robinson.
Yeah, I know Brian Robinson, yeah.
Right, Brian was down in Hamilton, where the Hamilton Carnival, and then we used to have the after Carnival, the soca farm in Hamilton.
Okay.
With Brian.
Holy Hamilton. But in the escalation of the bookings, as you just mentioned, going to Belvedere and New York and stuff, within that time, when it became important, who determines who is playing? Because I mean, as you know, Lonnie used to take a little spin with me. Hamdi was the key to it, right? Who would you consider if you had one bookings? I know you guys have multiple sometime in the night, because a lot of times I would see Carl and you would be missing and you probably would be in, and that's how it Chinese Laundry and everybody evolved, right?
Yeah.
So how you guys determine who goes where and who does the link up? How does the bookings come in?
The thing about the separation.
Well, let me put it this way. Put it to Carl, because when Carl started, remember, Carl, as the public here in Toronto knows, Carl was running under the radar, right?
What?
Running under the radar. Like we didn't know he was musically inclined, right? So we start seeing Carl as Bad Lad, and I told you multiple times that I always thought Carl was Bad Lad, if you remember correctly, right? So
Yeah.
So what I want to know now is how I could have been misled like that, and how you guys determine who play where and how you guys split up here. Yeah.
Okay, I think what happened, right, was a lot of the gigs that I would play at, you were familiar with them because I played for Irie. We did few things together, he and I, and Irie was one of them. Caribana was one of them, right? And Coffee Boys was another one of them. And Coffee Boys are soul thing. So hence the reason that's because that a lot of times when I'm there, Ian is there, but I would maybe have been the one at the time that was playing because there are multiple DJs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that is probably where that vision of who is Bad Lad probably came from. But essentially, it was actually two people all along it was from the get-go.
Yeah, from the get-go. But the two people had two different lives before Bad Lad.
Yeah.
You know, as I say, Carl used to be a drummer, and I was a DJ with the other sector.
So you guys go international, understand, you know, in speaking to you guys probably had only about 3 to 5 to 8 weekends off in a whole year.
Mm-hmm.
So how you guys handle that workload, and how you guys do that?
The good thing about it is it's two of us.
Yeah.
So it makes life easy. Sometimes Ian will be there before me, I'll be there before Ian. It all depends. It depends on where we are. We used to take time out to schedule international gigs. Trinidad, New York, Miami, England.
We always
Montreal.
Yeah, we always go that way.
You have to remember that in Toronto, most of the parties used to be around Caribana time. And Caribana in Montreal, or there in Montreal Carnival used to be at a different time. Everybody had their own time. So Hamilton, Brian Robinson, Hamilton Carnival was one time. Toronto was another time. Ottawa, Montreal, yeah. They all had a unique thing about them that made it easy for us to schedule time to be there. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So did you guys, besides the Bad Lad being unique and having the Trinidad to it, in talking to Maceo in the early years when Sunshine and Magic and these guys come out, did you guys go in any these type of I can't see DJ competition. I don't know why there's such a thing, but did you guys, normally you go with a different DJ, and we know that from Trinidad, Big Man City, Madman Joy, Nutcracker, they in a party, they have their own following. We have to share the time, but some crowders either want to hear the guy a little longer than the other. Have you guys been in any situation here in Toronto where there's a little tightrope with opposing DJs and stuff? I mean, it's built in. You want to play the best. You want to be moving the crowd maybe more than the other guy. How you guys handle that? How you guys do? You guys talk to each other, especially if the other DJ laps in?
No, we were always humble.
Yeah,
Always humble. We would always give the other DJ the opportunity to do his thing, because we know we can do ours.
Yeah.
And when given that opportunity, you will make the best of it. And that is what allow us to stay away from competition and that kind of stuff. When DJ want to zombie, as they would say, the set, not a problem. We used to give them free rein because they can't play all night.
True. So Ian, you evolve and you end up with a record store.
Yes.
So is that the DJ taking the DJ, getting your records technically free through the business or whatever? I mean, how did that work on how you came by the idea to get into the record business?
All right, nice question. In the early days, like, as I say, we always connected to DJs in New York, DJs in Trinidad, DJs in Ottawa. We always connected to, for some reason, we were always connected with them, right? And like our carnival time, you would hear the new music coming out and that kind of stuff. And in Toronto, we cannot get it. For some reason, we can't get it. They used to have certain people bringing in records like TOs from the earlys, and you have JBS, which is Stanley Gittins and them guys, and them bringing in record. But we didn't understand the business of the record. So when I talk to us like Supreme Team, I talk to like Chow and these guys in New York, and they tell me, hey, we get a new Swallow, we get a new Marshall, we get this, we get. I said, well, get that. I used to hook up with DJs like Riyadh, like certain DJs here, and say, look, here what? I go down New York, pick up records, and come back. And I've been doing that for like, let's say I collect like the US, and I reach down there, buy five of that, come back, and give the DJs and them their stuff. So we was really inclined with what's happening.
So it's a supply and demand then. You go in safe, your business was fairly safe, that guys, and normally initially that's how the business works. There'll be Rhinos or whatever, they put the name down, so Rhinos order. So that's how you started?
That's how.
And these guys?
The Wire was a main source of music in the world, I should say, right? Because Wire hook up all the big DJs like Mario from Trinidad, which is Downtown Outlaws, we in Toronto here, and we used to go New York and get the records. All you had to do is go and sign a book. We used to get promo copies, and there's Wire who set up that for us to get this stuff. And there is this guy called Selwyn Woods, Magic, right? Magic, I used to do this, go down and pick up the records and stuff, and Magic sit down and talk to me one time. He said, lad, here we're going on. You see what you're doing there? It's good, but it has certain people may not like what you're doing and call the authorities for you because you're operating a business from your house. So my suggestion to you is to go and get a storefront, right? And try and open a record store. Magic and a guy called Carl Holder in New York. Carl Holder was Caribbean Music Brokers. And those are the two guys who were responsible for me in getting a record store in Toronto. I tell Carl.
Okay, I'm now going to ask that. I'm now going to ask if when you're going on that venture, was Carl informed and stuff? Because you see, once we get it here now, perception, you're clearing up all perceptions and stuff as bad lad, whether Carl was part of the business or whatever. Was Carl part of the business, the bad lad record shop?
Well, I will give you a little scenario. I don't even know if Carl remember this or know how I feel. This is the first time I'm going to be talking in public about this. When my dad passed away, getting touchy.
Yeah. What happened is I had a career. I by trade is a technologist, right? In instrumentation. So I worked with a company full-time. Right? At the time, Ian had the opportunity to work in the airport and then do his record sales business. So I was the supporting cast, part of the supporting cast for the business because he was going into a venture for the first time in his own business. And I was there as a supporting person to help him along. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So like my career started to take off as a technologist, right? So that's what I started doing. I started doing a lot of travel throughout Canada, Europe, South America. I did a lot of travel, hundreds of thousands of miles. So it was okay for me to take on that role, to support Ian in whatever endeavor he might so choose in the record business.
But he's talking about
let me mention this.
original situation where, in terms of you being there for him, when he in a very supportive role that he least expect.
Yeah.
And that's how friendship really bonds.
Yeah. I must mention, as I say, I was going to say something and then I get a little teary with me. When I was going home to bury my father, Carl met me in the airport and say, boss, I don't know how it is, but give me an envelope and it had X amount of dollars in it. And exactly the dollars what it had in it, I needed was to bury my father. And I would never forget that, and I could never forget that. Carl is a veteran.
Yeah.
So
you like it?
Yeah. Perfect.
yeah.
And that's why I put you guys as humble guys, because even for me who know Carl, right? And since I've known Ian, you guys just drop it a certain way. I noticed you two guys, nobody's looking for the limelight, which is the ideal teamwork, and I can't even get it out to you guys here now. So I guess it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. These guys are heavily bond, Elmas. So now the music going on and stuff. Any challenges that, for DJs out there in partnership, to get over what you guys had no problem, obviously, because your personalities are in sync. But
keyword is trust.
Yeah.
Trust in each other.
Because I know
Some people,
a guy might go and simple things as a booking. A person, you might have problems with a certain promoter, and the other mightn't be privy, and then the other one say, we're playing for XYZ next month or whatever. Does that conversation, could that second person change, or how does that hearing goes?
We're very political where that is concerned. It's the music. It's all about the music and the fans. So if Carl and somebody not getting on, I would go and do it. No problem. And it's the vice versa. And if I and somebody getting on, Carl go and do it. That's all about the music and the fans.
Well, that's professional too.
Yeah.
That's professionalism.
You will know there's a lot of promoters here in the tongue here that I don't deal with, Carl is deal with. Carl don't deal with, I just deal with.
That's the way. Are you guys trying to say two words better than one? Is that
yes, yeah,
right?
definitely.
Okay, all right.
Coming around where the bad lad name is concerned, a lot of people didn't know Carl's son was a DJ, and my son is a DJ.
Okay, so let's start with you and your son. What's your son DJ name, and how he managed to pick up that part of the industry? Is it true or he liked it?
Because I used to have also the records at home. My son had some friends, and their initial, this was back in 1990, I don't remember, 90 something, can't remember the exact year. But the DJ name was Elite Squad. That's before all these guys doing all this
Yeah.
fancy stuff.
Before Baby
Elite
Blue and
Squad
all
was
that,
the
yeah.
first DJ in Toronto, young fellas,
Yeah.
who paved the way.
They used to make cassettes.
Yeah.
I think.
So,
Yeah.
so let me get this. When you say pave the way, Carl, pave the way in what? When you say pave the way, is that musically inclined?
For young
My kind is
R&B,
that
yeah.
music.
R&B, reggae, not soca, mixtapes and that kind of stuff. That's what that was their thing.
Yeah.
Marketing, you're talking about selling it or just-
Absolutely.
okay, all right.
They used to
So
DJ, they used to play out too.
They used to go. They was one of the first set of youths that actually start traveling Edmonton and that type of stuff and them things. Before there was like Soca Sweetness and before there was like all these other guys and stuff. Elite
Starting
Squad.
from scratch.
okay,
All those
okay.
guys.
Let me get that name slow.
Squad.
No,
Elite
your son
Squad.
is not part of Elite Squad, is he? Is he? Ian?
No.
So
No.
what's your son DJ name?
There is the Enforcers. The Enforcers. I don't know if you ever hear about it before. They the ones
man.
who on
Yeah.
who on
98.7.
98.7, G 98.7. Yeah, that's one of the guys there is my son. The heavy set one with the beard. Well, actually both of them have beard, but it's Marlon. And then Edward is like a son to me. But Marlon is my
And guess this. Look at this. Check this out. His son name is
Marlon.
My son name is Marlon.
I ain't gonna ask too much question on that one. Right? but Archer, you influence Ian on the name.
Yes.
So you the godfather or what?
Something like that, if you want to call it that. But not quite.
All right.
Assistant godfather.
But they call him Uncle Carl.
Okay. Well, that's true respect. Well, most of the youths do that. So how your son managed to take up the music, Ian?
Actually, I was listening to an interview with them recently, and that's how I really found. I know I used to hear him in the basement playing music, and sometimes we talking about 40-something years ago. When you have something, you get upset when somebody touch it, right? I would hear him playing the music downstairs and saying, but this guy ain't doing something right, because you're only hearing, you're hearing this moving. So I'll go downstairs and say, boss, see this system here? This system tuned for soca. So try and see how you can think. Anytime you go into reggae, take this down.
So in terms of how you guys look at the town now, in terms of since you come into the industry, right? You break in, you dominate, you have your engagements and stuff. Is there anything you guys seen could challenge the industry, or or is your music revolutionizing to cater for whatever comes?
We more stay with the mature clientele. The mature clientele, as Carl mentioned, that the Elite Squad used to really do R&B and the reggae and stuff. And anytime they had to do soca, they used to bring us in to do the soca for them. So we more stay with that mature clientele.
Okay, so if you get a booking and if somebody approach you, especially let's say in New York or whatever, and they want the variety of things, would you bring Carlson and as part of the booking? Or
no, we outgrew that so that we can handle it ourselves. Carl is more the person who do the mixing and stuff, and I would more do like the communicating and the booking, making sure the hotels and that kind of stuff and everything. So Carl is more the mixing man in the industry. Carl.
okay, well, yeah, because you guys have to break down now the expertise in what we get in here. It can't be, because we're humans, and if you guys are specialized in the same thing, it don't matter what you say, there will be a little ego kind of. So now that Carl is specialized as the mixer man, that makes sense. So now you guys know your roles. So you guys have separate roles, but together.
Right.
In other words, you can still back up Carl as mixing. I guess you're no stranger to mixing.
Right.
And Carl, could you do the booking?
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right, okay. So
Carl is the original. Carl, Caravana time. Carl dominantly coffee boys, and I Caribana. You know, I don't even know if anybody realized or know that the first king and queen I think they had in Toronto was at Varsity Arena. That was in 1989 or 88, somewhere like that there, right? And we was the original DJ for King and Queen, and stayed the original DJ for King and Queen until 2019, because we didn't have Caravana last year, right? And so we were the original DJs for King and Queen for so much years.
What, I guess that's a built-in contract, but now that you go to the Caravana and being there, how is that? How is that Caravana being going through so many changes and stuff? I know we're not going to get into the political end, but how is that? Does that interfere with, you know, because obviously things have adverse effect, right? Did you guys feel any adverse effect? Because for instance, one time they almost had nothing and it was Markham Fairground and stuff. So if you were around that long, you probably felt some of the changes that Caravana was going through.
Yeah, I was part of Markham Fairground with Salina and them. So I'm familiar with all that. But the politics in the game, we're here to play the music and keep the fans and them happy. So we will never really get in the politics with the Caravana, who is CEO or who is that or that. We just know that we had a product and you guys want our product, and this is what we're going to deal with.
But sticking with the Caravana and that music, because it's about live from Trinidad, and that is one of the key elements, which is soca, calypso, right?
Yeah.
And there's the misconception I had with Archer. Carl being around, he knew or was familiar with a lot of the people that was running Caravana, a la Wilbur, God rest his soul, because they all come through the soccer/football kind of fraternity, and they would know Carl. So, Carl, how you balance out of that Caravana business, because a lot of guys were close to you?
Yeah, there was a lot of people who kind of influenced the different gigs that we would get for Caravana. And one was, most of them have gone by. Peter Maslin, Wilbur, and so these guys helped me along the way getting to. That's the reason why we stayed playing so long for Caravana, because the transition between these guys, Peter, Wilbur, Miles, all these guys had a little contribution towards us continue playing for Caravana. We did besides the King and Queen, we would do the Queen parade, the pageant, and different things in the background, you know,
boat
rides and that kind of stuff, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So because of my familiarity with these guys through soccer, you remember Wilbur was a soccer guy, Peter was playing soccer as well, Sam, Lewis, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I knew all these guys at that level from a business standpoint, from communications, you know, we weren't partners, we go out drinking, we weren't like that. But I had that communication with them that would allow me to kind of influence some of the decisions that they would make in terms of getting the music on board, that is Bad Blood on board. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to that extent to Trinidad, I know a couple of these guys went home and stuff, but you guys have serious booking also in Trinidad. Around Carnival. That link happen. I know sometimes there's a little, you know, coordination between Caravana and the Carnival committee and stuff. Is it through that, or again links that you guys have?
Actually, may he rest in peace. There's a brother called CG, Soca General. He was influenced. He had a lot of influence in us getting work in Trinidad too, because he used to come up to work with us, and we used to go down to work with him.
Well, when we first started out, you remember there was a fete in Trinidad called Brass Festival?
Yes.
Right.
Brass Festival, because we used to play on boat rides here. When the band Atlantic first came out, Ian Wilshire was the manager in Canada. And we had a boat ride using Atlantic for 2 nights in a row, right? The boat ride wasn't very successful, but we met the promoter or the band owner, which is Cliff Harris. And I said to Cliff, you guys played, here's your money. Cliff said to me, the next time I met him, he said, listen, I want to start a thing in Trinidad called Brass Festival. We want you guys to play. I said, that's not a problem. So we played from Brass Festival from the very first day it started, the first year it started until it finished.
Yeah. I mean, Trinidad have some top DJs and stuff, but is it, or you guys a little ahead of the game or know what the people want? It's the same gig, I understand, but it's a bigger crowd.
Yeah, Brass Festival, it used to call, I think, International Brass Festival. So they wanted that international feel. Bad Lad from Canada, you had Madman Marty from New York, you had Professor from Trinidad, King Chow from Montreal, New York. So that basically tied. Byron Lee from Jamaica. So that used to play a big role. We were always involved. But just to let you know that boat ride Carl talking about, in those days, boat ride was $12. $12 to get on the boat. And we had the food and the bar. And it wasn't Enterprise 2000, it was Trillium and Sam McBride.
Yeah.
Those were the boats.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they changed it, you couldn't get the bar and stuff. But so Carl, you guys expanded your bookings to South and you're all over the place. You guys did Tobago? Yeah, we did Tobago.
And that was, as Ian had mentioned earlier on, that was as a result of CG.
Yeah.
CG was the guy.
We used to call him Bird.
Yeah.
Bird.
So are you guys retired? Carl, are you retired?
No, man.
That's book time you have to take or what?
No. Well, right now, because of COVID, I don't really want to go anyplace. And Ian knows than I am.
No, but I'm talking about for those times you go down there. How long do you go for Carnival? The same standard?
A month.
Yes, a month, 6 weeks.
So you can have some book time, and you're entitled to a month.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Or they have a thing they call sick.
Okay.
There's an invention that's called sick. Yeah, have you ever been sick?
Yeah, but that's kind of built in. That's the only my invention. That's not even my invention. That's built in. That comes with us. Yeah. So and Ian, you're an entrepreneur. You're still an entrepreneur, right?
Yes. Well, I am retired right now.
Yeah. Okay. So you can go down with just COVID stopping you. So what's in store for the Bad Lad thing? I know Carl say he has a documentary or something with his athletic career. What's in store for Bad Lad? What we can look forward to Bad Lad?
We have Trinidad if Carnival comes up, right? Right now, nothing is happening, and we really don't want to get involved with boat rides and that kind of stuff. Yeah. We played in one event this year, was an all-inclusive. That's about 3 months ago, Jerry Weeks. But we have stuff happening. We'll be on the road in Trinidad when Carnival happens the next time around.
Yeah, and the band that Bad Lad played for in Trinidad is called Showtime, and been playing with Showtime for because we do a lot of work with Peter Minchell. We had like Peter Minchell, Alison Hennessy, may he rest in peace again.
On the road. We talking about on the road here now?
On the road in Trinidad. On the road in Trinidad.
All right, okay.
Then we play for Chocolate City, Juve. You know, we really did some times in Trinidad, and Trinidad will always be Trinidad for us.
Once they're having Coffee Boys in Trinidad, Coffee Boys in Canada, Coffee Boys in New York, boat cruise in Miami, we will be there.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So you hear that? That's the big four there, you know.
Yeah.
And it's different place. Trinidad Coffee Boys, Toronto Coffee Boys,
right? Yeah.
New York Coffee Boys.
Yeah, Miami.
Miami what?
Miami.
There's a boat cruise in Miami that we play for every year.
And
it may turn into all
so memorable.
Huh?
Why is that so high up on your list?
Because it's really a nice cruise in Miami. It's really, really a nice cruise.
Mature kind of thing. It has a good
It-
feel.
it's white and a touch of whatever color. This year they might come with white with a touch of blue, white with a touch of orange, white with, if you notice.
So is that one of the pictures I got there? Where
Right, you get it with Mr. Desmond, Manmad Mahdi, Carl and myself. I sent it to him, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
That thing. And I don't know if you're aware of this book.
Together with, no.
This is a book that the Trinidad and Tobago government with the Canadian diaspora that actually put together for 50 years when they had the 50th anniversary. That the people who we was one of the contributors for that. For page 123.
Is that in the entertainment field or?
Yes. I didn't see it.
All right. Okay, yeah. That's what you want, Carl. I see Carl there.
Yeah, Carl and myself. I must tell you about this though. Before Carl and myself really get together, Earl Lapierre, Elton, Spy, myself, and Orson, may him rest in peace, were the first guys to start Block O in Canada, 1975.
I'm assuming there's no challenge to being the first that gave a Block O.
Mm.
And you know, first is a thing has to be registered.
Okay, well, we started, okay, maybe I should put it different. We started the Block O in St. George.
Okay.
We started the Block O in St. George.
And I'll support you now, that was the Block O. You know,
Yeah.
it might have had others, but that was the real Block O and stuff. So I just
and
wanted to make sure we cleared up a bit.
My affiliation with Flemington Park was coming to Flemington Park and flyer Flemington Park for the Block O in St. George. And that was my affiliation with Flemington Park.
Well, Archer might have to put his, put himself on a spot with this. We're going into gray areas here now because Archer has never been there. He's been around the ball, and in getting files from Miles within the last 4 weeks or so, I'm a little amazed with the information that's in there, how close contrast was, and there was lack of support from that area for Flemington. But Archer, we can't put our Archer down to anything because we still, the jury's out on Archer because Archer dropping it really low, man. And that's nice. That's nice. And nobody needs to know your business unless you want to tell them.
There's a lot of people who was really surprised of the thing of my accomplishments when I bring it up.
So anything Ian we didn't cover? Or?
It's a lot of road that a lot of guys and everything, so much names to call that it can't really call all, you know what I mean? But it was very influential in us staying together, in moving forward, And
Archer, and another thing with Archer too. Very early, you were in the Jane and Finch area, and it never bothered you. You guys a stigma or whatever, because I remember him coming and playing the tournament up at Driftwood there in the early 70s and stuff, and to me, he's still the same person. So this perception about era and all these things, maybe you want to kind of dispel all these stigmas, these negative stigmas and stuff, because here you are, as they say, Google you. And for me, your image was Jane and Finch very early.
Yeah. The thing about it is Jane and Finch was I think when you're living in an environment, you don't recognize some of the dangers or identifying signals that says that this area is a bad area. I never knew that when I lived there. You would have things that happened there that was was common throughout Ontario. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like people breaking the garage and open your car and that kind of stuff. That was a normal thing just about any place. But they used to have, I think what used to happen, people used to come from elsewhere into the area. Plus, the area was really cosmopolitan, right? They had people from all over the world living in that area. And it's very difficult for people to share the same concept, the same lifestyle. And that's where you used to have a lot of fiction. Plus there were drugs and that kind of stuff. But I never got involved with it.
Yeah, me too.
You know, he was living right at the corner at one time of Jane and Fitz, right at the corner on the northeast corner.
Yeah.
I was always living on the southwest side. Then Ian moved up to where I was living.
Same building.
Same building, exact same building, 4500 Jane Street.
So
we never had a problem.
I never touched
we would have
drugs.
thought you would have been coming Scarborough in the nice part of thing when you were moving.
When I came to Scarborough, when I came from Trinidad in 1974, I came to Scarborough, and you would know the gentleman I stayed by was my mother brother. It's called Claude McLean, Scratch.
That was my buddy, God rest
Right.
his soul.
So I came to Canada in 74, and there is where I stayed for a few months, and then I end up in West Lodge area, and that's where I meet Black Ivory and all these guys and them type of stuff. And there you go. From there was Mavis and Ronnie with the soul headquarters, and there we go. We started to move around, and that's it.
Yeah. So did you saw with in the boutique with Mavis and Ronnie and them? They had
with Ronnie and Mavis.
Yeah,
Ronnie and Mavis, and then Arthur Cato. Arthur was may rest in peace, Arthur. I was a tailor inside there.
Okay.
Maceo was a tailor too. Maceo used to be, I think, somewhere on Dufferin Street.
Yeah. So guys, I don't know, what a team, you know, and most of the teams we had on, they're a team. They wanted to be on together, and I was, you know, Ian and I was setting this up, Carl, and I didn't want to push the idea. And then he came up with it, he said, listen, Carl is coming, and I said, perfect, you know what I mean? Because your name been calling before in the ball and everything else, right? And everything happened at the right time, at the same time. So I want to thank you guys for giving us the time. Me and I learn a lot from you. I keep learning about you. You're like I don't know, an encyclopedia or something. And Carl, I don't want to have the camera on you too much in terms of, but continue be learning about you, you know, because I'll Google. I'll Google to be totally updated, and if I have questions, I'll give you a call. So I want to thank you for giving me the time. You guys stay together. It looked like there's a shoe in for both of you guys.
Yeah.
And, stay safe.
Yes.
All right.